For someone who really doesn't like reading anything that will make me feel afraid, any horror, like no, I don't do any of that, I'm really excited that I was easily able to pick out some manga for today's prompt. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. It is going to be another fun Top 5 Wednesday prompt. Very excited for this because today's prompt was actually chosen by the Patreon and channel members. But in case if you're not familiar with Top 5 Wednesday, in a nutshell, basically each week I answer a prompt using 5 books, but in this case I do manga to reflect the said prompt. And today's prompt is spooky vibes. I feel like this is sort of like in honor of Halloween coming up, and we're just sort of doing things that may give us like preparation for Halloween, I guess. Have sort of like that fear factor in the manga that we're reading. Like I said, I don't do any kind of horror or anything. So my manga picks today, they're not super spooky, but I feel like they have spooky enough elements that work for me. And so that's what I'm basing my picks off of, just based on how my own fear levels are and keeping them really low. I feel like only one of them probably actually fits the prompt the best. So totally bear with me. Also, totally bear with me. I have a new camera thanks to the MangaSloth, and I'm like, whoa, this is big, really clear. But I don't have my microphone hooked up today. I need to buy an adapter so I can hook it up. So if the audio sounds weird, I do definitely apologize about that. But hopefully the next time I go to film, it won't be for this upcoming Friday, because I already filmed that video a few weeks ago, but hopefully for the next Top 5 Wednesday. And if you ever want to vote and help choose the Top 5 Wednesday prompts, I have the sign up link down below for Patreon and channel members, because once a month I let them choose of what I'm going to do for that month. And so today's spooky vibes, so let's go ahead and jump right in for number 1. This is a series I have wanted to read for the longest time. One of my friends actually recommended on this channel, and then I went and I binge bought the whole thing. Well, maybe not binge bought because it was like one purchase, because there was a deal on Macari and I bought it, but that is Nikolai Traveling Around the Demon's World. This is a 4-volume series, and I have wanted to read it for such a long time. It's been on my radar for the longest. It's finally in my hands for the longest, but I have not read it for the longest. And I'm like, I don't know why. I had planned actually to read it this month because I really feel like this gives all of the, like, I was gonna say non-spooky, but that defeats the point of the prompt. But I feel like it gives just enough spookiness where it's more, based off what I've read, I feel like it's like a more cozy spookiness, because Nikolai, the main girl, she is a human, but she doesn't really feel like she fits in with the humans. So she ends up going to this world that has monsters in it, and she travels with this guy here who is like a traveling salesman, and she meets all kinds of different people. And the thing is, she's not supposed to be in this world because she's a human. And so I guess, like, based off some things I've read, some of the monsters can smell her, which is not a good thing. But I really love the art. I think it is just so beautiful and fun and really lighthearted. So I'm hoping maybe I can squeeze this in before October ends. I wouldn't have a review up in time, unfortunately, but it just looks so cute. And I don't actually think there's really any like horror elements or anything, so I don't have to really like worry about feeling like my lights in my house need to be on at nighttime. But I do feel like it's a nice, cozy, spooky kind of vibe that just really, I feel like, would vibe really well with me. For number 2, this one was a must. Like, I knew this for a fact, and that is Rosie in the Labyrinth. And this is a 3-volume series, but I go into all the cover love because I love these covers. I love this series. It is so wonderful. It's so good. I definitely have a review up on this channel. Shout out to my friend Maeve who recommended this to me. I've read volume 1 probably like 2 or 3 times. It does have a little bit more of that actual spooky vibe, though I do love when those moments come up. This one has like a really fun tree, and then you have this lady here who likes to try and scare Rosie. It doesn't work, but she is successful in scaring somebody else, which makes me laugh. This guy, his name is, I was about to say his name, but he'll have a name that will be revealed, and he's a really interesting character. I love Rosie and how she really brings this whole world to life, and seeing the excitement. And while most people would find this to be a scary place and a place that you wouldn't want to live in, Rosie loves it, and that love really is contagious. Seeing the adventures she would go on, the different mysteries she tries to solve, it's really interesting and a wonderful read. This is not something I feel like I typically would have picked up for myself, because I would feel like maybe it has like some hardcore spook factor, but it doesn't. And there is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character, Jack. I love him. He is amazing. amazing. So this is a really great read with a very strong and hopeful ending that I absolutely loved. It makes me tear up. It was beautifully and so well done. Highly, highly would recommend it. For number 3, I knew I was going to do this one as well because I have to do some of my best boys, and that is Twisted Wonderland. Oh my goodness, yes. This is based off of the game. I definitely did a review on this first volume, like a first impression. I went with Twisted Wonderland because this has a little bit of everything. It's a little bit darker than the game, and so I feel like it's like a really low-key, dark kind of fantasy. You have monsters, you have ghosts, you have people who have magical abilities based off of, we'll just say, things that happen in the story and how the characters are and such. I feel like it has a mashup of all of these, and it's definitely, like I have shared in that review, if you have wanted a Disney story that where the characters are inspired and look up to the Disney villains, this is one you need to check out. I really loved this first volume. The art is incredible and just it's everything I had deeply wanted as a fan of the game. We just got the novel license announcement this past weekend from Viz, and yes, I am so stoked. Like, that was definitely like something I didn't expect we would get, but it was something I've really, really wanted. I feel like this actually does, like Rosie, has a little bit more deeper spooky vibes because it has that darker fantasy tone and has a variety of elements that I feel like would just really honestly make a great read on Halloween or like before Halloween, but it doesn't have that scariness or anything like that, but it definitely can get you in the mood if you're looking for something like that. I love these characters so much. I love them so much. I've bought so much merch of them recently. It's like ridiculous, but no shame. Like I said, Haikyuu is Best Boys. Twisted Wonderland is number 2 for Best Boys, and very excited. Love this series. Well, love this volume. The series is coming, but still, I love this. I love this. For number 4, this should be no surprise that this is going to be on the list because you guys recently voted for this, and that is The Haunted Bookstore. Talking about the manga, though, it is 3 volumes. I will be having a review coming up in the upcoming weeks, though I've only read volume 1, but I will have an apology in that video because I thought this was a seinen. Wrong. It is actually a shoujo, which I'm never mad about, but I just felt bad because I'm like, we were supposed to have like a shonen month kind of thing. No, we won't quite be doing that, but that's okay. That's okay. So I have read volume 1. I plan to read volumes 2 and 3 this week. The Haunted Bookstore, it's so deceiving. Like the title, this is not a spooky read. Like this is, I was about to say, like it would be like if Toilet Bound Hanako-kun was extremely, and I mean extremely, slice of life. Maybe a threat of danger that happens in this manga, but it is not overwhelming. I mean, and I think that's because our main girl here, like she really loves being in this world with these spirits. Like Nikolai from the traveling one, she feels more at home among these spirits than she does in the human world. Like even when she's questioned, like, why are you here? Shouldn't you go back to the humans? She's like, no, I would never want to live there. Like that's not my home. Like this is where I belong. And so you go on a few of these like different adventures with her because the one thing I will say, like, this is not scary because look at this goblin. Is he not the cutest goblin you've ever seen? He's so adorable. I love him. He's a sweet little precious being. And I feel like that's just sort of like a foreshadowing of sort of the other creatures, monsters, spirits that we meet in this manga because no one is really scary. Everyone is really sweet. And even when like there's a few instances of fear from like certain characters, it's not extremely intense. Like I felt very warm and cozy and just all the warm fuzzies after reading this. Like there was no horror element at all, I feel like. So I'm like, I don't really know where the haunted part comes in with this story and if like maybe there was a different translation in like the Japanese title compared to the English title. I really don't know, but there's no horror in this, but I decided to do it for the spooky vibes because it does have a little bit of those Japanese folklore. Like it definitely has one chapter that centers around that. So I feel like it does have, for the quote-unquote spookiness, I'm making it work, guys. I'm making it work, or at least I'm attempting to. I'm really excited to read the second and third volume. I really, really enjoyed this, and I had a feeling I would when my friend mentioned that's very slice of life. I was like, done. Say less. say less. And these two characters right here are my favorites. They are the Raven twins, and they are so funny, and I really look forward to seeing more of them in the upcoming volumes, because I did notice on volume 2 that we have them, and I'm so excited. So I'm really looking forward to this, looking forward to reviewing it, hopefully continuing to super enjoy it, because it feels super underrated. So stay tuned for the video review here in a few weeks. For number 5, I'm also really excited for this, and that is Beast of Abigail. This is a 4-volume series, and I make sure I had the name of the title right. This is a shoujo, and if you're ever like, I'm tired of vampire stuff taking over in manga and just novels, then this series is for you, because they're sort of like werewolves. They're not exactly werewolves, but they're very similar and have a lot of similarities in a lot of ways. This one definitely, I feel like, had a little bit more of the spooky vibe. There's a lot of mystery going on, especially around our main girl. I think her name is Nina. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, that she's at this place because she finds herself, she's human, but she touches a certain kind of rose, and suddenly she is finding that she's a Luga, which is the name of these werewolf-like creatures or people in this series. And so she finds herself being captive in this place, and she doesn't really know fully what's going on, but she knows things are not right. And I love how she is not afraid to stand up for those who are being bullied in this place, if they are being physically abused. And she's just got to figure out to get out of there, but she's coming to terms with, or realizing she doesn't want to just escape by herself. Like, she wants to bring these new friends with her, the people that she's met. Even this guy right here, he's a big jerk, very big jerk, but he definitely grew on me as the series went on. Like I said, this does have a love triangle. I love this character right here. He is one of my favorite characters, and I have really, really enjoyed this series. I have not reread it in a while, but I had such a great time, an enjoyable time reading this. Have a review up on this channel as well. I still need to read her other series that was licensed in English, Kaiju Girl Criminalized, I think is the name of that. I read volume 1 many years ago, super sweet. But if you need something with werewolves, this is your manga, because I don't really know any besides this one that fit that niche, fit that need, because I definitely prefer werewolves over vampires. Sorry, not sorry. For my honorable mention, I was so stoked about this, was gonna read it, and then I accidentally forgot I had it until literally this morning, when I found it buried under a pile of books that I had put there. So I haven't fully read this, and that is Soara and the House of Monsters. I'm not sure if I said her name right. Everybody I know that has picked this up has deeply enjoyed it, and I'm just like, I need to read it. I feel like this probably doesn't have strong spooky vibes, but the reason I wanted to choose this one is because this girl here, she has been trained to be a knight, more or less, and her whole life she's dedicated everything she has to training to take out the monsters. Well, by the time she's sort of more or less of age, the king's like, well, we don't need you anymore. We don't need you to go slay these monsters, because now we have like a peace pact with them. And she's like, what in the world do I do with my life? She has nowhere to go. She can't go back home. And so she sort of ends up wandering, and she meets, I don't remember if she meets him first or if she meets him later, but she sees like some orcs, and then she sees a dwarf, and she sees not just one but quite a few dwarfs who are helping these orcs, like they're building a house of all things for them. And she's like, what? Because how she's been raised, monsters are horrible evil creatures that need to be wiped out immediately. Obviously she can't do that. Like, how she was raised is not the right way that she can view these monsters anymore. And so anyway, she meets this dwarf. She comes to talk to him. They have like a little bit of a confrontation, and she's more or less invited to come with these dwarves to help build homes for different monsters. And I was skimming through a little bit this morning. The art is excellent. Look, there's some little spooky vibes right there. That dude almost eats the dwarf actually, and she comes and saves the day, thankfully. But she has such a huge heart, and it is one I'm very excited for. It's probably like spooky meets like one of those housemaking shows kind of things, to be honest. But the art's great, and it seems like such an engaging story. I've read at least chapter 1, super enjoyed it, and even though I told myself I just wanted to get the first volume, now I'm like, well, I sort of want to keep reading, and I want to get the next volume as well. Did I just mention how awesome the art is? It's really beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So that is my last pick, my honorable mention for the spooky vibes. Since I haven't technically read it, I'm hoping that it works, because we're just gonna go with it like I did for all of these. I know they're not the most spookiest of things, but if you're looking for manga that just has just a tiny smidgen of spookiness, these manga are definitely for you. But I would love to hear from you, friends. Do you guys read spooky things? What are some manga that you would recommend that, you know, just have that really low-key fear factor? I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye! Bye!